Chapter 1 of Drunk on Kombucha by Flo-Lates. Chapter 1, The Grubber Twins Make Me Sick. The only way you could tell the Grubber twins apart was because Jakey had a scar down the middle of his forehead, donated to him by his brother Rudy when they were playing in the sandbox. Sandboxes are a thing of the past, as are metal toy buckets, shovels, and pitchforks that came with them. So one day, back in the early 60s, Jakey was playing with a Tonka truck in the sandbox. Rudy wanted it, but Jakey refused. So Rudy did the only logical thing. He planted the edge of the metal sandbox shovel vertically into Jakey's forehead. This might let you know that the Grubber twins were a bit rough and tumble. But they were also my friends. We lived 2 houses apart on a hill of 9 houses, 18 kids, 7 to 13 dogs, depending on if there had been a breeding of late, about 6 cats, miscellaneous reptiles, including a miniature alligator, countless fish, and wild animals that sometimes slithered onto your porch or waddled across the road. On this day, we were carpooling with the Pemberton family. My blood sister, what's now called a BFF and involves bracelets instead of lancets, Sally Marie Pemberton, was the oldest of the Pemberton brood, and Mrs. Pemberton taught school. So the Grubber twins were sitting in the backpack of the Pemberton's station wagon. See, just like names in the South, Mary Jane, Sarah Ann, we like to double our words. Therefore, the last seat in the station wagon was the backpack. Our dog was Lily, and I was Flo-Flo. So when my mom, who was a damn Yankee as opposed to a Southern belle, said, "Flo-Flo, Lily, get in the back," I'm sure folks wondered about her. Anywho, there sat the Grubber twins waiting for the Pembertons. I crawled into the middle seat. Then one of the Grubber twins farted, and it stunk. It stunk so much that I upchucked a little. By the way, that's an old-fashioned name for barfing. I flung myself over the back of the front seat, and a little trickle of vomit slid down the seat back. Then I looked up, and here came Sally Marie, her mom, her younger sister, Lily Pooh. Okay, I just added the Pooh since she's a younger sister, and little Nate. Sally Marie sat in the back with me, and Lily Pooh slid into the middle of the front seat, right where I had barked. I watched that little trail of upchuck, but it was still hanging out on the top edge. We started to leave the hill to make the short drive into town. But I forgot to tell you part of this ritual. See, the Grubbers owned a Doberman named Carl who liked to chase cars. So when we would leave in the morning, he would run after the Ford station wagon. Since we didn't want him to run all the way down into town, Mrs. P would drive up and down the hill, across the top, down and up across until Carl wore out. Then we would safely drive into town. Why we didn't just tie the dog up, I have no idea. Well, you can imagine that the 5-minute ride to school became a 10-minute ride as we went down and up and across, around and around and around. And you can guess that the little trickle of my innards moved its way down the front of the seat and onto the back of Lily Pooh's red coat. I was beside myself. I'm sure you're wondering why I didn't say anything. Do you remember being 6 or 7? Bodily functions are embarrassing. Throwing up is, for sure. All day, I fretted. Finally that night, I worked up the courage to confess to my mom. So this morning, one of the Grubber twins cut one, I began. What? She asked. He cut one, I said louder, since that's how you make parents understand. By the way, I assume that cut one was short for cut the cheese. I'm not sure why fart was taboo. I mean, Chaucer said it, and my mom was an English major. Okay, I guess it just wasn't for polite company. Cut what? She asked. I'm pretty sure she was messing with me now. Cut one, I said. Oh, he let a stinky, she said. That's the end of my memory of this story, since he let a stinky is burned in my brain. I'm sure I had to confess, and Mrs. P and my mom probably enjoyed a good laugh over